Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Rob, and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist. Every Tuesday, the Access team takes inspiration from a recent or upcoming release to start a conversation about some of our favourite games. With The Sims 4 arriving on PS4 and everyone immediately thinking up awful ways to torture its virtual stars, conversation in the office naturally turned to all the heinous acts we'd committed throughout our video game lives. There's a rich vein here, and first to mine it is Holly.
So with The Sims 4 coming out on PlayStation 4, I thought about confessing the horrible things I do to my Sims in the past, because now I can do them all again.
Hooray!
Yay! So
we'll all be doing it.
I mean, I did it on the live stream. What I used to like doing was like you build a really nice house and a really cool family, and then sort of one monster person.
Oh God!
And then the monster person, you'd build a nice garden, and then you put like lots of big bushes and trees, and then behind there, it had to be very specific, 1x3.
Right.
And you put a door in it and a fridge. Then you put the person in and you take the door off in edit mode.
Yeah.
But because they've got a fridge, they can't die.
Can I interrupt here? When you say a monster person, is this something in the game where you could make a monster that you just designated a human being to be a monster?
Yeah.
Right.
It's just one I just didn't do a very good job in, like, create a sim.
Right.
Yeah, they just didn't look very cool.
Right. And they were part of the family?
Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, they were just stuck in this, like, simtorium that I sort of made. 'Cause it was all windows, so in theory you could see in and they could see out, but they couldn't get out.
Right.
And all they could do was eat, so they wouldn't die. But then they would like wet themselves because there's no toilet in there. But
like 7.
Yeah. And now The Sims 4 is out, and I'm basically just doing it again. But this time I'm doing it with you guys.
Hooray.
Because I made you guys, and then I made little simtoriums.
Was there a sort of end goal? You know, were you ever? Could they curry your favour? Would they ever be let free?
No.
No.
I get bored of making another house. I just liked building houses.
Did you ever make them then? What would happen if you reintroduced them to the rest of the herd?
That never happened.
Right. Okay.
They never made it out. Once they went in, they didn't come out. Or if you really didn't like someone, you could send them swimming and then delete the step ladder.
Ooh.
So they couldn't get out, so they'd drown.
Oh.
They'd keep swimming until their energy bar was depleted, then they'd just go to sleep and they'd be dead. But then what would happen is they'd become ghosts and come back and like pop out of the toilet and scare your other Sims. It's very tragic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you'd put people in a room with no door and just an oven, knowing that they couldn't cook, and eventually just set fire to themselves.
Right. Rob, put that notepad away.
That's like my kind of game.
You've made us all in Sims 4.
Yeah.
Which of us would be the monster, Holly?
Well, I couldn't make Delson, so maybe I'll just make like a small badger child, and like I just lock it in a simtorium out back.
Where it can just got a fridge, I guess. That's
I mean, not as cruel, right?
Yeah.
I guess you'll find out. We filmed this before my Sims live stream, so I haven't decided yet.
I spent a long time trying to think of one of these, not because I'm some sort of goody two-shoes.
You are.
Yeah, I mean, it must be that, because I couldn't think of one for ages. And funnily enough, Rob actually reminded me of something that's haunted me. Yeah, well, it can't have haunted me that badly because I forgot about it, but something that did happen in the past, of which I'm ashamed. And it was actually one of the very first videos we ever put on the channel, was me telling this confession, which I'm going to retell now.
Do you know what it is?
I'm going to tell you. It's from the original Dishonored. For some reason, you have to go to this doctor's house. And this doctor's very well to do. He's got like loads of things in glass cases, loads of maids, and loads of guards, which poses a bit of a problem when you're trying to break in and steal stuff. So I was trying to steal something. I think it was like a poisoned rat or something, maybe to make an elixir. Anyway, I like to go non-lethal. So put all the guards to sleep, chuck them underneath the stairs, and moved on up to the next floor. And when I was coming up to the next floor, I could hear a guard talking to a maid. And they were talking, I don't know, it was some business chat about whatever, the doctor or something, his house. And then I'm just hovering on the stairs. The very last thing that they said, the guard says something like, "Oh, are you going to be like this when we're married and it became apparent that they were in a relationship, which is nice. The guard, I think he went up to the next floor, I think there's 3 floors, and the maid went off round to the right, and I was like, I had dark vision, I was sort of following her through a wall. I went down the hallway and she was in a bedroom at the end, and the door had just shut. She'd gone through the door, and I didn't bother to look through the keyhole or anything because obviously she'd just gone through the door and she was going into the bedroom, everything was going to be fine. So I just opened the door and she was stood right at the door looking at me, and she immediately like, it was like that. And I remember like trying, it was quite early in the game, so I wasn't incredibly au fait with the controls. I was trying to subdue, and it was like the like zigzags of we're just going and coming, and it was like just press the button, and I pressed the kill button, and the sword just went up through her throat. I went and put her on the bed, which now feels like a bit of a weird thing to do, doesn't it? It's like, but I thought that was nice.
The blow when the guard comes down.
And I honestly thought for a good few minutes about whether I should also kill the guard or whether to just knock him out. I was thinking he's going to wake up and find her, and that's going to be really, really horrible. But in the end, the playthrough was more important. I just put him to sleep. I mean, that's probably what he would have wanted.
I remember at the time, the thing that made this story really horrible when you told it to us initially was you said that you just wanted her to be quiet.
Yeah, well that's what it was. Not even that, I needed her to be quiet. It was important, and that was why it was like literally, you know, the bars are filling up of like, at one point it's going to go red and she's going to scream, and I couldn't let that happen. It was particularly hearing them talk about their wedding and life, happy life together. And I mean, he'd just gone upstairs. It's a horrible story.
I've only got one, and when this is going to be a quick entry. There's only one thing, and it was from Red Dead Redemption. And I mean, there's lots of horrible things you can do in this game, and I guess the thing that I was surprised myself when we started talking about this morning, this memory hit me like no other one. A sort of a smell of a kind of a butcher shop, you know, came from the air. It was awful. And I've done, speaking of awful, like tons of horrible things in Red Dead Redemption, right? And other games of its ilk. You know, I've torn through dozens of people without thinking at all. There's that mission where you get kind of like an early machine gun. Yeah, I'm just grinding people up. Right? I don't care. This one thing I did, and it was because it's to do with the horses in the game. I think because they've got excellent horse physics, right? Which is, it's an important thing. So what this story is about, isn't it? All the grisly things that happened in that game, I was completely happy with. And one day, I don't know why, I think maybe we were just like in the multiplayer, maybe in a lobby, but I've got a feeling I was just in town, and I walked up to a horse and I shot it in the head. And I think I remember tweeting about how horrified I was. And it was because of the way the horse just instantly fell to the ground with like a sort of like as if you dropped loads of meat all at once, and he just went blah, 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 like on the ground. I can still remember the amazing sound effects of this horse, and the horse didn't know what I was doing. You know, it wasn't.
It was innocent.
It wasn't. And I said out loud, "Oh no!" that I'd just done this awful thing, and I stopped playing for a little bit.
Like a fainting goat.
Yeah, like a fainting goat, except sadder, Holly, much sadder than that.
Well, you came face to face with a part of yourself that day, Nate. That's real.
I know. The horse killer.
For no reason, just out of nowhere.
Just wanted to see what would happen.
That horse was just waiting for his owner.
I know.
He was going to help someone get home, maybe carry some important mail.
He had a job to do. He might have gone, ooh, at some point. Horses do that.
Family.
Yeah.
He had a part in making the new world.
I know.
And now he's dead.
Taken away everything that horse was and everything he's going to be.
Yeah.
That's right.
Get the people, but the horse.
Yeah, man.
There's a line. We've all got a line, haven't we? A moral line.
I think it was something to do with, because if you shoot a person in that game, they fall over as well, right? I've tested that extensively.
Yeah.
But there's something, I think it's just because horses are heavier, it just made a louder noise, and I was like really aware of the kind of the physicality of the horse. Just a big horse-shaped box of meat that I'd caused to die. It was horrible.
That's what you tried to tell yourself, but it was a horse.
Yeah, it was a real horse.
It wasn't a horse's shape.
I know.
It was a horse.
That's when Cowboy Nathan walks away with his new pony skin chaps.
Yeah, that's right.
I could pull off pony skin chaps.
Assless.
So I've done quite a few bad things in my time.
I've been looking forward to this one.
In video games. Infamously, everyone, I'm sure, has heard the story about the pink taxi of death.
Very much so.
That I used to do in Grand Theft Auto,
I don't take
San
taxis
Andreas.
at all anymore.
But when I was thinking, there was another thing I used to do in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This was
serial killer.
this was me and my sister again. Mount Chiliad was my favourite place in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Why are you laughing already?
So under patrol by the police. So high up, so far from civilization.
Yeah, I mean it was really high up, and obviously what most normal people would do would be to get a parachute, maybe get a bike or a car. There's the little ramp right at the top. Drive off really fast and then bail out of the car and then parachute down. But I used to find it quite funny to go on dates with the people you could go on dates with. They wouldn't be equipped with parachutes. So you get one of your dates in San Andreas. You just like, they'd want to go to, I can't remember what you used to do. Like, you used to go to the restaurants and stuff, didn't you? But instead I would drive off the top of Mount Chiliad and bail out, and they'd be fine, because they were protected by their mission critical status as CJ's possible dates in the game.
And they wore
so their car would just be like bang, bang, rolling all the way down to the bottom of the thing, often exploding, and they just get out, walk away, and you get a little message like, Denise is really annoyed with CJ.
Yeah, not a good date.
But one thing I found out you could do, you get tow trucks in San Andreas, and you can actually fix the towing bit on the back to other cars and tow them along. It doesn't count as a crime if you start towing a police car. So I would get police to chase me, I would lose my wanted level, and then I would drive back to where the police were, affix my tow truck to them, so we'd have two policemen just in the back of this car. What's going on? Slowly drive them all the way up to the top of Mount Chiliad.
Oh my God.
So I'd be in the tow truck, and then I would put my foot down towards the ramp. I'd bail out of the tow truck before it hit the ramp, so the tow truck would fly off, the police car on the back would also fly off, and I used to enjoy murdering people that way. Because policemen do die when they go off the side of Mount Chiliad, and it's just a great place to have lots of violent fun. Mount Chiliad, it was great. There was a specific song, I can't remember it, that I used to always listen to on the radio as well.
The murder song.
The murder song.
Yeah.
I think it was Rainy Night. I Love a Rainy Night. I don't know what the song was actually called. It was on one of the radio stations, like the country radio station, but that for some reason was just my murder song. I took a photo of them as they got into the taxi, and then there'd be the disgruntled photos as they got out of the taxi.
Disgruntled?
Then realising they weren't where they wanted to go, and then there'd be the photo of them just lying bloodied and chainsawed on the floor.
Oh.
You guys don't work alone with Rob in the office, do you? You're always in packs of two at least.
That's actually one of our office rules, yeah.
Do you honestly think that's going to save you? It won't. Let us know in the comments what awful things you've done in video games. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more like this every Tuesday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.